Hello Sagittarius, welcome to Higher Source Tarot for your March 2020 tarot check for all Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus in Sagittarius. So if that's you, you're in the right place. We will do a monthly reading here, but please remember time is fluid, so it's certainly possible that the reading will extend beyond the month of March, or if there are things that have already happened that resonate with you, it's also possible that some of this may have occurred previously. Thank you so much to all of you who've been subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting on my videos. I really appreciate that and just love your energy. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified when new videos are posted, which is about once a week. I do a mid-month tarot check and typically some weekly checks. Occasionally I'll do a bonus, and I also did do a reading of an overview of all the cards in the Rider-Waite deck. So let's begin. I'm going to give you my typical Rider-Waite read, but then at the end I'd like to use these Abraham Hicks Money and the Law of Attraction cards. These are great though to apply to any situation. They are not necessarily specific to money, but I do enjoy them very much. So here we go. Let's hear what is going on for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Sagittarius. Okay, that's your present position. The Ace of Wands covered by the Ten of Pentacles. And in the distant past, you've got the King of Swords here. Coming up in the more immediate future, you do have the Page of Pentacles bringing in an offer. You are represented by the Six of Swords. The people around you could be a Capricorn. You got the Devil here showing up. Your fears are the Ten of Swords. The outcome, you've got Death. And then at the bottom of the deck, I'll take two, but I don't usually do that, but I will for this. I'm going to tell you have the Knight of Swords here and the Three of Wands. So definitely we'll be contemplating some kind of an offer. But Death is always very transformative. So you've got fire energy, you got a lot of earth energy. I actually think March will be a good month for money for you. And you've got Scorpio, Capricorn, and certainly a lot of air here. So you only have the Knight of Cups representing water, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be any sign really, because sometimes there are representations of someone's rising sign or their moon or something like that, if that's more really dominant for them. So your present position is the Ace of Wands, and the immediate influences are the Ten of Pentacles. So I think for some of you, you are asking, you've got the Ace of Wands is, definitely it can be about reconciliation. I think some of you are wondering, or even asked before this reading, do I want to reconcile with this person? Should I reconcile with this person? And if you're asking questions like that, the answer and the guidance is yes. You can definitely consider it. It's not a no, okay? So I would say if that's been on your mind, you're being guided to think about it. It's definitely, though, also indicative of a new beginning for you. You have a lot of very positive new energy, especially with the Ten of Pentacles covering it. So with this Ace of Wands, just to talk a little bit more about that, it's all about action energy. And it's kind of like you wave a wand and things will just happen for you. And that's your current position. So you have moved or shifted your energy into a very high frequency. So you want to continue that, okay? And part of how you do that is pay attention to the 5 people that you're surrounded by the most. What are they like? And certainly if any of them are downers, I would suggest it may be time to put a little more distance in that relationship if needed, because you want to keep this momentum. This is how you attract all those great things that come into your life, and it feels like, that exciting feeling. It's like a new, fresh, very exciting time in your life that's coming towards you here. So again, if you're wondering, is this person going to come towards me? The answer is yes. But now what I'm going to say too, for some of you, it can definitely be new with the Ace of Wands. So if you were broken up with somebody or had some instability, or you've just been single for a while, you can definitely be attracting someone new. Now, the Ten of Pentacles is the wealth card in the tarot. So again, I told you money will be good, but it's also abundance in really all areas. So I think for you guys, there's money, but it's really kind of like I said, you can wave a wand and things just seem to appear. You are in optimal form right now for manifesting things. So get out the vision board if you haven't done it, or just get on your computer and start looking at things. You know, when we look at like ancient civilizations, they were masters at visualization. So let's say you go to Tulum in Mexico, and on the structures, they're, you know, huge boulders set upon a 39-foot cliff that were built thousands of years ago. There's pictures all over the structure because that's what they did. They basically were creating vision boards without calling it that. And why were they able to do that? Because you look at what a feat that is. They didn't have bulldozers. They didn't even have geometry. That wasn't, you know, created until 1,000 years later. So how did they do this? Well, they didn't have limiting beliefs. They just knew they could do it. And guess what? So can you. So your outcome in this, or your destiny here, is not the outcome. Let's go destiny. That gets to be a confusing word. But your destiny is to find stability, balance, and something very long term. So I do think if you've been in relationships where there was a lot of in and out, it felt like there was a lot of being taken for granted. And that doesn't mean the most recent one, but over even friendships too, if you find that you feel like people kind of took you for granted, took your time, like you're the person that's always on time and people show up late constantly and you're sitting there waiting like, you know, I'm a busy person and here I'm waiting for this person for 30 minutes. That is also moving away from you because, you know, you want to have more reciprocity, more balance, and it is going to be offered to you. You know, it's also too though, like, don't let your pride get in the way. So if you haven't taken some offers in the past because you're very independent, you're very headstrong, you're very outgoing, and you don't feel like you need it, allow some of that to happen because recognize it as the universe is bringing you a gift. And so if somebody offers to buy you lunch, take it. You know, my boss will do that periodically. And there were times I would say, oh, no, don't do that. And then I thought, you know, it really is about the universe bringing something to me. And the more I say no, the more I push things away from me. So I've learned to just allow it, okay? So this is all about really getting balanced. Now, behind you, you've got this King of Swords. And you may have been dealing with some people who are just very caustic. I feel like they were kind of ruthless with their words. Careless really is probably a better word. Careless and cutting with their words. They weren't very sensitive. And sometimes that can be Sagittarius, even though I do love you. You have to kind of be careful with your comments. You're a sign where, you know, you don't like to be like tied down and restrained and things like that. But you also have to be careful with what you say to people. But I do feel like, on the other hand, this was coming towards you, where you were around some people and it just had to stop. Like you moved away from this energy because it was getting to be like almost like putting you into fight or flight whenever you were around this person. You knew there was going to be a problem. And you did the right thing by moving away from them because your vibration shifted. You moved higher, right? When they go low, we go high. That's what you did. Your vibration went higher and they had to be removed from you. There is no choice when that happens because it is a universal law. So when your frequency and vibration changes, the things around you will change. And in a good way if you're able to raise your own vibration. So you may have had in the more recent past, in the last couple months, you may have been finding you've gotten more offers, like people wanting to hit you up for dates, things like that. Some of you might have manifested something too, like a new purse that you've wanted, or even like a great new, I'm getting hair for people, somebody with a, you know, some kind of expensive hair thing, like whether it was like a, you know, God, what is that shit called? It's like a deep conditioning thing, but it straightens your hair. I forget what it's called, but anyway, it's like something like that where somebody, it was like decadent. You manifested something decadent that maybe you hadn't been either able to have the money to do it, or it just money kind of accumulated, or somebody gave you a gift certificate or something like that. So that's in the more recent past, but this is also the single lady card too. So some of you may be single for a while, and that's actually been a good thing. You know, it's made you seem much more attractive, because you're in your own power. You know who you are. You've got money around you. I mean, this is like, it's surrounded by money right here. But then you've got coming towards you, you've got another offer coming in. And with this Page of Pentacles, you know, he brings a nice little offer, but he's also like kind of proud of it. So, you know, there's a bit of luck here too for you. So if you've been thinking about going to a casino, or even buying some scratch off lottery tickets, things like that may offer you, you know, some kind of a new opportunity here. I do think, like I said, some of you are going to be getting more money this month. And it's also about long-term happiness though. So I feel like with the beginning of this reading, that Ace of Wands is very closely connected to the Page of Pentacles and an offer. And it's, you know, again, he's a bit more sensible for a page. He's not like, you know, he's just not as immature as some of them. But I also think you have a beginning for some very long-term happiness with this. And I just keep getting that again and again with that Ace of Wands. So for some of you, if you've had something that ended, it is going to come back around, and it's not going to be so in and out. And I don't feel like it's like, I don't get the energy like somebody's really demanding it. Like some readings I get where it's like somebody comes back around and you basically say, this has to be this way or it's not going to be. I don't feel like it's that kind of tone. I just feel like it's more natural than that. Like it comes back around and it just feels right, and there's a forward movement and momentum with it that you don't need to do all that. And the damage that was done, I also don't feel like it was anything really heinous. It was more of sort of an immaturity and, I don't know, people just going in different directions. Somebody may have left to go to school too, maybe graduate school or something like that, and they end up coming back around. So you're definitely moving on to some new territory here. You know, it is possible for some of you, there could be travel indicated here because you have so much money coming in. But I also think too, you're moving on to more stability and just a much more easygoing kind of a place in terms of this relationship. Again, if it's somebody new, it's not going to be repetitive of old patterns too. If you've never watched or read about the 7 mirrors of relationships by the Essenes, or the 7 Essene mirrors, that would be a good one to watch, because you can't fix what you won't acknowledge. And so if you've had some patterns showing up, if you're not aware of what they are, you'll keep recreating them. Now, around you, this person is a bit obsessive, okay? I think they're already doing some checking on you, and it's been happening for a while, where they are looking, even, I think, on social media, they're looking on your friends' pages and things to try to see what you're up to. Definitely think that's happening. I think to some extent there could be, if it's somebody from the past, this sounds creepy, but casually following you and trying to kind of figure out how to reconnect with you. It's not like a stalker, like they're not outside with binoculars right now, but it's like they kind of are just hoping. And, you know, the thing is about this, though, is it really has to do, too, with being chained to the ego. And there's a part of them, why they're not coming forward, or if they haven't yet, is that egoic feature where they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of just leading from the heart. And so it's keeping some of it at bay because they're too much tied to the ego right now. So, you know, again, the limitations that this provides are always self-imposed. So this person is very capable of change, and I actually think they have quite a bit. But it's also, too, if it's a new relationship, it's also about breaking free of codependence. So not people-pleasing, not doing things. And I know in the beginning of a relationship, we put our best foot forward, right? But it's also, you know, it's also about not doing things to manipulate somebody. Like when I if I do this thing, then they'll be happy, and then we'll get along better, they'll treat me better, blah, 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 blah. And we're not really doing it from a genuine place. We're doing it more to manipulate. So it's also just kind of a time to learn how to put codependence down if you're somebody who's ever struggled. Again, this is their energy, but that dynamic exists between two people. You really can't be codependent by yourself necessarily. You got to have somebody to codepend on. So your fears are about this Ten of Swords. So again, this is the end of a cycle here, and it can be a very exhausting kind of an energy. So I think for some of you, you've been through it. You've been hurt before, and you're in a good place, and it's a little scary to leave that good, safe place to take a chance on either somebody that it caused some pain in your life or some upheaval in some way, but also, too, somebody new. Because we don't know their patterns, do we? And we don't always know, like, is what I'm seeing what I'm getting. So I do think, again, the cycle is over, and it can't hurt any more than it did. It's been completed, but there's still, some sense of concern. This also, too, can relate to your reputation, and for some of you, I do think there could be something about the other person's reputation that's concerning, or you're concerned. For those of you that are bringing somebody back, you're concerned about what people are going to think, because there's some people that really don't like this person for some reason, and that's a concern. So the outcome, though, is death, but this is all about you must die to be reborn. It's a truly transformative card. And where I feel like the transformation hasn't quite been represented in the beginning of this in terms of spirituality, because there's quite an emphasis on money in this reading. I do think it's like a time for you, if you've gotten really stable and some momentum with money, it's now the next time to expand yourself even more and bring in that love, that stable, long-term love. I do not think this is an ending of a relationship at all. I actually do see it as the beginning of something very good. So then you have a Knight of Cups here with the Three of Wands, which is kind of a cool combination, because the Knight of Cups he's bringing in a big offer. This is, somebody who's very generous, comes from a place of mutuality. So this person that's coming towards you, again, is a good person. Their career and finances are like very stable, and yours are too, though, by the way. And on this too, you see how there's wings on the helmet. That's like you're being intuitively or divinely guided. Okay, so the direction that you're headed in, as you follow your intuition, is going to be very satisfying emotionally. But I do think too, you're still kind of waiting to, like, it hasn't really, at this point, hasn't started to move forward. So you're waiting on it. You're waiting for this to show up, but it is coming for you, Sagittarius. It definitely is. And this is all about like the beginning of progress too. When you see the wands that have those leaves that are growing. So you've got kind of like the beginning of this. And in March, I think, is when you're going to start to see some forward movement. Now, there's no like real rock and roll energy here where it just comes in all at once. I think you'll start to see the beginnings, and it's evolving. So you are in a great vibrational place. Let's hear what Abraham Hicks would like you to know. What if everything was always working out for me? When you play the what if game, look for things that make you feel better. There is never a situation in which there is not a way out. But out of habit, most people continue to choose the lack perspective until they eventually find themselves where it seems that there are no more choices. But as you hold to your intention to look for evidence of well-being and thriving in success and happiness, you will tune yourself to the vibrations of those things. And so those kinds of good feeling experiences will dominate your life. Very nice. So, and I feel like you're in that vibrational momentum right now. So I love you so much, Sagittarius, and I will see you again soon.